With VTubing slowly creeping into the mainstream, especially in Japanese culture, one has to think if the future of VTubing is only going to be a niche thing or if it will expand all around the globe. I wanted to venture with you on this thought today. Welcome to Your Virtual Identity. This podcast is aimed towards VTubers like you to help you brand build, help with making content, and educating you in what actually matters. I'm your host, Dog, and let's get this started. For those who are afraid VTubing will turn to irrelevancy, I want you to remember that cartoons and animated film have been working as well, if not better at times, than real live action movie have. What really is more to wonder is if it will be like the radio medium and what it was to the television, and what television ended up being to the mobile phone. Something that still gets an audience but shrinks and slowly decay as time goes by. With a short amount of research thanks to technology, I've been able to find the stats from back in 2020, which was the moment that we can all roughly agree where VTubing hit the outside world of Japan. There was over 10,000 active VTubers globally, and on YouTube, they accumulated 1.5 billion views per month. Fast forward to 2022, because there was not really any valuable information that I could find from any blog post in 2021. We're just gonna skip that year. In 2022, Twitch reported a 350% increase in VTuber viewership over the period of 2020 to 2022. By 2023, there was 37,300 active VTubers on Twitch and 49,500 globally. That is a almost 5x increase in the VTuber ecosystem. In 3 years, there was about 5 times more VTubers, and they represented 0.4% of the total active channels back on Twitch, and they had 5.7% of the viewership. Quite a discrepancy. That sounds like it was in a pretty nice place. Let's see if that stays or gets even better later. In 2024, the watch hours seem to have their first dip, but only of a 1.5% in watch hours. Could simply have been a hard quarter. And it was, because approaching 2025, the viewership rose by 14% and then another 7% to an all-time high. The amount of extra watch hours didn't come because of more VTubers, it was quite the opposite. A lot of people have stopped VTubing probably because of how saturated the space felt for them, or just that they created no content that actually generated views and they burned themselves out. Which means those who stayed have been growing considerably if they have been making content and stayed consistent with their live streams or just YouTube content. Not that it matters if your content is bad, but the VTubing sphere is heavily dominated by female streamers, with an outstanding 70.2% of the top 6,000 streamers being female. Only 27% of those are male, and the rest are a thin spread of non-binary space and babiniku, which is a term to refer to a female avatar used by a male. The more you know. So, with data, we've learned that the VTubing sphere is still growing considerably and shows no sign of going back down for now. Those who remain are getting a bigger proportion of this ever-growing audience, which is positive reinforcement for playing the long game. What about the future now? With how hot of a topic, and maybe unfortunately for a lot of us, the tech world, AI is a whole big thing, and the adoption of something like Neurosama makes me wonder, is this only the beginning of the end? Will AI streamers be something we have to compete with at full scale, Or can the public filter them out in favor of real people offering real connections? It is doubtful that this line will properly be ruled against AI. For now, the only platform that has anything against AI content is Google. However, the only thing it rules against is against something that appears realistic, like replacing faces and voices. So something like deepfakes, edits of real events, and fabrication of plausible scenes. These require a content label, but is still allowed on the platform. The label appears in the video description, and for more sensitive topics like health, election, finances, they also add a label inside of the video player itself. Fantastical or animated content like VTuber avatars or AI tools like script drafting, captions, filters do not require any disclosure whatsoever. YouTube will also demonetize content that they deem mass-produced, repetitive, or inauthentic, like in the case of low-effort AI-created videos. AI-assisted content is not banned so long as it retains originality and meaningful human input. I'll let you process this for a second. For now, AI has its quirks, and it's easy to notice it. But what will happen when AI can have a real voice that has actual warmth, and play games and interact with chat? In the case of Vedal, he has that human input front and centered as he works with them to create content like a co-host. However, human input can technically include chat, so if an AI influencer can answer on their own without problem to chat, wouldn't that rule them as a proper streamer? Twitch has nothing going against this as of now, and more likely than not, they're pro-AI. They've generated emotes and banners so far, and I doubt that it'll be in their current interest to put a bar against AI when they've gotten companies who got a booth at TwitchCon, for example, whose service was to generate banners, emotes, and logo for streamers. The future is hopeful and potentially dark at the same time. We live in times of great changes, after all. I always write all of my scripts myself, and don't plan to let my content be not me talking to you. So if you want to keep this grounded approach at the future, definitely consider following the podcast and sharing it with others who could benefit from a reality check. It was your host, Dog, and I'll see you out there, Wanderers.